You're listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast network.
You're listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast, the most listened to daily Miami Dolphins podcast on the internet. Come on, Dolphins fans. Time to fins up.
All right, Miami! Miami's got the Dolphins, the greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. Hey, when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl, 'cause we're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins number one. Miami Dolphins.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the official first episode of the Phins Factor here with Marisa Marino. I am the bearded fanatic, and Marisa, it's official now. We got the color scheme up. We have, well, the tune's still being worked on, but we are officially on our first episode of the Phins Factor. How are you feeling today?
Good. Yeah. I feel like if we're on Facebook, we need to change our status to like official. Like
I agree.
we're official. I'm so excited. Phins Factor every Tuesday at 8:15. I am pumped for our first official episode.
By the way, they did an amazing job with this artwork. I'm really digging the artwork.
I love it. It's kind of like a spin off of Fear Factor is
It is.
what they were going for. And I mean, I feel like that ties in Fear Factor. You're a little scared, that's Dolphin season. We're a little scared.
It's usually how it works, right?
Yeah.
When our hopes are
100%.
up here.
Right. Yeah.
But I want to start it off by something that you did today, because I think it gets people excited. It's been retweeted a buttload of times already. Is your first giveaway of our episode,
Yes.
and we're doing a Fanatics hat giveaway. Tell the people about that.
Yes, I'm so excited about that. So I posted and it's been reposted all over socials. It's on mine at Must Be Marissa 87. It's on the Dolphins Talk. It's on your social at Bearded Fanatic, on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. But what you have to do is you have to subscribe to our Dolphins Talk YouTube channel, which if you're watching on YouTube right now, just hit that subscribe button. And you have to like and repost the tweet. I also have it on Facebook as well for our Facebook followers. And we will randomly in 48 hours have a number generator pick for us, one lucky winner who will get a Dolphins hat of their choice from Fanatics. So I am excited to see who the lucky winner will be.
Now, over the last few years, the NFL draft hat has been kind of hasn't been great. So, you could always hope and wait for the hat to be a really good hat. I always get it regardless. I like having each year's NFL draft hat. That's just my thing. But if you're a winner, you may want to wait to see what they drop. But listen, if you're a hat person, there's always really great hats on Fanatics. So definitely, that's awesome, Marissa, that you did that for our first episode. Just kind of get the ball rolling,
Yeah. Or someone could do a beanie if they don't like hats.
You had to go there. You had to go
They
there.
have to go there.
Beanie
Beanies.
Gate is
Everyone
alive
knows
and
that I
well.
love them. So
All right, Marissa, let's go ahead and jump into our first topic of the day. One of the things that we've been clamoring for, especially me, my old head self, has been the issues at the offensive line. And I feel like we are a broken record, me and a bunch of other fans, you as well, that we feel like the Miami Dolphins are just not taking it as seriously as maybe they should. This week alone, they've gone ahead and re-signed Isaiah Wynn, and they just brought in Jake Driscoll today. Now, if you don't know anything about Jake Driscoll, he is from the Philadelphia Eagles. Jack Driscoll. I keep calling him.
our buddy Jack.
Yeah, I keep calling him Jake.
I
As you
think
can
of
see.
like a Jack and Coke or something. Maybe that'll help you out.
Right. See, I don't drink, but yeah, you're absolutely right. But Jack Driscoll, he comes from the Philadelphia Eagles. He played 172 offensive snaps last season. He only allowed 1 sack. So from a number standpoint, from a depth standpoint, at least they did a good job in the aspect of bringing in depth at the offensive line. So for me, the biggest win here is bringing back Isaiah Wynn. Isaiah Wynn, in the times that he played, he had 392 offensive snaps. So far has allowed 0 sacks in his career. Now, I know those numbers could be misleading a little bit, because just because you weren't the full factor of giving up the sack, it could have been the center, it could have been the tackle. But regardless, as far as he goes and with the ones he's responsible for, he hasn't given up any. I'm very excited about the depth pieces that the Miami Dolphins addressed this week.
Are you saying that win is a win?
Ooh, I like
Ooh.
that. You walked right into that. I walked right into that.
You
dad joke. I
did.
like
You
that.
did. No, I'm excited for this too. I was reviewing tape on him today and started off with the first game against the Chargers, and he had an absolute amazing game. I mean, every play that I saw, I mean, I posted one on Twitter. I mean, he was set up as left guard, and he took his guy and basically just like slammed him to the ground, and he was nowhere. What I really noticed from him, and kind of similar to Aaron Brewer, is he's a very good run blocker.
Right.
I noticed that a lot, and he opened up a lot of holes straight down the middle for some of the guys. So I'm really excited to have Isaiah Wynn back. I do think he will be a part of that. I mean, I'm assuming he's going to be part of that starting line right there as left guard. Would you say the same?
I would say the same, just for the simple reason, as of right now, we
Mhm.
don't have a consistent starter just because of all the health issues of our offensive line.
Right.
Somebody put here, Wynn is more hurt than Armstead, though. For sure. And this is why I call it a depth piece, because of the fact that more often than not, our offensive line is hurt at one point or another. One player is going to miss significant time, whether it be 5-6 games, or whether you're Teron Armstead, no shots at Teron Armstead, but you're going to miss a significant amount of games at the age that you're at. The thing I like about Jack Driscoll is when you look at what he's played right tackle. He took 130 snaps last season, and he also played right guard. He took 35 snaps at that as well. So when you look at it from a standpoint that you can move him around, that's exciting as well. Because if Austin Jackson, God forbid, misses any time, you have somebody that can fill in that right tackle position. So for me, I do like the signing. It's not an exciting signing, but for me, because of how concerned I am about the offensive line, I do like this signing a lot.
I think that's, what you said is really key with a few of these guys. They have versatility. I mean, Aaron Brewer, he does center and guard.
Right.
We have Liam Eichenberg. Now, I don't know officially what the status is on him, but he's versatile as well. And so I think that's what they're trying to do, is get some of these guys. I mean, we've talked about it in other episodes of Dolphins Talk, but really the only consistent guy you had out there last year was Austin Jackson until pretty much the end of the season. I mean, he was your one go-to constant, old faithful.
Peace, right?
Yeah. So it is hard because these guys are playing such a physical game, and they're, trying to do their best to protect the quarterback, and some of them are injury prone. So I think that's, we'll talk about it in a little bit, but that's going to be a big thing for us moving forward, is, getting some depth there on the O-line.
For sure. And by no means does this address the fact that they shouldn't go offensive line. At least for me, offensive line with their first pick at 21, I still think that is a must. I know people are flirting with wide receiver. I saw one mock draft of a prominent fan on Twitter with a healthy following having us take a defensive back in the first round. I get that you could make an argument for almost any position on this team for that 21 spot, but as far as the need goes, offensive line for me will definitely be the way to go.
I agree with you there. I think looking at it, there's just not enough bodies. We don't, when recently in the off season, I mean, we are stacking up on defensive tackles. We got 6 in free agency. O-line is still a little bit, I don't know if this is the right word, but a little bit janky.
That's fair.
We have some stuff to do.
All right. So and remember, ladies and gentlemen that are watching on Facebook, you're watching on Twitter, whether you're watching on Instagram, whether you're watching on YouTube, by all means come to YouTube, because at the end of this show, we're going to give you guys 15-20 minutes to basically come on here and give us your thoughts on the show, give us your thought on these topics for today, and obviously let your voices be heard as well.
Absolutely.
It's definitely exciting at that portion of our show, because we get to interact with you guys directly, and we get to hear, other people's opinions about the state of the Miami Dolphins as well. So when we move on, Marisa, holes to be filled. Which position group is your biggest area of concern? By the way, pause. I know the title. Listen, let's be adults about this.
I wasn't even thinking that. This is a family-friendly show. So
we went from big nasty men last week to host to be filled this week.
I mean, goodness, let's get it together. Okay.
All right, Marisa Marino. Because I think I'm going to be a broken record, I prefer you to go first. What is your biggest area of concern when you look at this Miami Dolphins team as a whole, at least with the remaining free agency periods before we hit the draft?
Right. So for me, I still think it's going to sound like a broken record as well, but we talked about it. O-line is a huge concern. I think your defensive tackle, even though we had 6 defensive tackles, I think some of them are kind of like Band-Aids. They're not really like, they're good, but I think that we need to maybe pick up like a really strong, solid guy for that D-line.
Game changer.
I would love to see that. I think we need a third wide receiver, and we'll get into that. But we all know when one man went down last season, whether it be Waddle, whether it be Hill, there was not much else cooking. So
I like what you did there.
Yeah, not much cooking. So we really need to, those would be like my 3 areas. I think, as far as obviously safeties, we're solid. Cornerbacks, we're solid. Tight ends, we picked up, quite a few. We now have Jonnu Smith added to that as well. We've got our running backs. So, I mean, of course, I think everybody wanted like another like powerhouse running back. That's why so many people were talking about Derrick Henry. But the good news is that a lot of these things pretty much are figured out. These are kind of the few missing pieces of the puzzle that we really need to kind of see a whole picture with this team.
When you look at it from that perspective, and I agree with all your points, I think it's difficult to go and say you're going to find a Christian Wilkins in the draft. I think it's difficult to say you're going to go find somebody as solid as Robert Hunt in the draft. But I agree with most of the people in the comment section. Outside of offensive line, I think that wide receiver number 3 position is the most prominent hole that needs to be filled, because I agree. Safeties, Jordan Porter, Javon Holland back there, they'll have that on lock. Then you have Jaylen Ramsey on the right side. On the left side, is Cam Smith going to be that guy? Kader Kohu, is he going to take a step back up to what he was year 1 of his career? Nick Needham, is he fully healed from that injury he had? So I could see a scenario where you question who's opposite of Jaylen Ramsey.
Well, Kendall Fuller.
Or Kendall Fuller. I'm sorry. Yeah, I completely forgot about Kendall Fuller.
So
I know people want to pick on his age. I still don't think he's old enough where you got to be worried about that. But for me, outside of you saying Tyreek Hill, Jaylen Waddle,
right,
it's like you really don't know who your third wide receiver option is. Is it Jonnu Smith in the middle of the field? So for me, I agree. I think the biggest hole to be filled is that wide receiver 3 position.
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on with that, and you're right. I mean, people have talked about age. I've heard that too. However, people say Xavier Howard's older. He's 30. Kendall Fuller is 29.
Yeah.
So, only a year difference in that. So I think that's been an area of concern for some people. So we'll see what happens with him.
Now, when you look at this team, and obviously I know we're not going to talk special teams, but punting is an issue. They obviously re-signed Jake Bailey.
Wait, you don't love him?
I would prefer Mannie Marisa, to be honest with you. I know that he had some issues that he was obviously cleared of, but the guy had a lot of talent coming out of college. So for me, I would have taken a chance on him. When you look at it, and there's a lot of still good free agency coming up, when you look at it, who's the one guy that you said, if I could trade for him or if I could sign him in free agency? Again, we're not worried about the draft yet. We're still weeks away from that.
Right.
Who's your trade block or free agency pickup that you would really be excited for the Miami Dolphins to pick up?
Yeah, so for me, it's going to be Tyler Boyd. I think he would make a good wide receiver 3 for me, from the Cincinnati Bengals. He's used to playing WR3. I mean, he's been third to Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. He's used to that slot, right? And so I think coming into us, it would kind of be a very lateral move. He'd be coming in again, wide receiver 3 to Tyreek Hill, Jaylen Waddle. And I think he seems okay to be playing that position, to be playing wide receiver 3. And if you think about it in the past, it was brought to my attention that actually the Dolphins, you kind of think of him as like a Nat Moore. Like Nat Moore was that third wide receiver to Duper and Clayton for Marino, right? And he was fine doing that, and that was his spot. And I think that, as for the Dolphins, they need somebody like that because there were just way too many injuries that happened last season. I know none of them were fully out for, multiple games at a time, except for kind of towards the end for Waddle.
Right.
But
Right.
you do need somebody who can be your plan B, who's your other person you can throw to. When somebody goes out, you can dial him up, no issues. So for me, it's got to be a wide receiver. We've got the tight ends, I think, at this point kind of figured out. So I would go for him. I think he would fit in really, really seamlessly. He's used to the run game too that the Bengals have, and he could, come in here and he understands that. So I would love to see that pickup. Now I will say, I know when we talked in the show before the show started, I asked you first, who was your choice? And you said Tyler Boyd. And I had my paper up and I was like, me too.
Yeah.
So I think I maybe made you change your answer so that we can bring some diversity to the show.
Sure.
Would that be right?
It is kind of right. And by the way, 91 targets last year, 67 receptions, 667 receiving yards. So if you grab those numbers and you put them on this offense, that's an automatic upgrade to our wide receiver 3 position. So I think it's a great pick that you did there. That's kind of why I was going with him as well. Now, Daniel, before I go to my answer, are you talking in the first round, or are you saying just in the draft in general, draft a wide receiver? So I would love to hear your thoughts on that, or you could wait to answer that question when we drop the link here in a few. But I do agree that Tyler Boyd is a great piece. Somebody in the comments mentioned Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas has played, 3 games in the last 3 seasons? It's like I wouldn't bring in Michael Thomas. Yes, as far as a name, yeah, he's a great name. But as far as I need somebody who's available. And Tyler Boyd, Hunter, I don't want to say Hunter Renfrow. I think Hunter Renfrow strikes a lot of Braxton Berrios for me. So that's why I was going with Tyler Boyd. Once Marissa and I had the same exact player, what do you hear from most people when they say the Dolphins could only go as far as Tua takes us? And I agree with that sentiment. But just like losing a Tyreek Hill or losing a Jaylen Waddle for a significant amount of time, kind of strikes fear in me to lose Tua for a long period of time. And by no means am I saying he's injury prone. I'm definitely not saying that. I think we're past that, the way he's built up his body, the way he strengthened his body, and the concussions are definitely a one-off. But for me, it's not as important if I'm not going offensive line, ladies and gentlemen, because that's what I want. I want to keep stressing how important I need offensive line to keep my quarterback upright. It's who's the backup quarterback. Do I trust Mike White to carry us for a few games? Do I trust Skylar Thompson to carry us for a few games? Now, there is a list of potential quarterbacks out there that are still free agents. And when you look at this list, there are some notable names. Like, people have brought up the fact that you could trade for a Jimmy G or bring in a Jimmy G. I wouldn't. I think Jimmy G is played good ball in his career. I think he's serviceable, but I don't want there to be any potential of, maybe Jimmy G should be the guy in the Dolphins. It should 100% be Tua. But when I looked at guys with potential that could grow under Mike McDaniel, who could get better in the career of Mike McDaniel, I found the name Carson Wentz. And when I looked at Carson Wentz, what he did before that really bad knee injury he had in Philly, he basically carried the Eagles to the playoffs. I think that this guy has been bounced around from the Commanders, from the Rams, and being that he played under Sean McVay for a bit. Oh, perfect. See, so Jimmy G's already signed. Perfect. I like Carson Wentz. I like Carson Wentz as a piece that can learn He's already learned under Sean McVay. Now he can come over here and learn under Mike McDaniel and be a security blanket who has won in his time, and be a security blanket for if, God forbid, Tua does go down. How do you feel about a Carson Wentz being on the Miami Dolphins?
I have mixed feelings about it. I
Give it
mean,
to me.
for me, Skylar Thompson, I've always liked him as a QB too. I know Mike White won out, but Skylar Thompson, not for nothing. I mean, we went to the playoffs with him. He only lost by three up in Buffalo. I think he's young. I think, we drafted him. He's a recent draft. He's got a lot to learn. I think he would, for me, I don't see anything there that would tell me that he's not somebody who can be really built up and have potential. Now, if you're talking somebody you want to like an insta fix, like that can come in and then, if Tua got hurt, he could immediately like jump into it and, be very promising, then I definitely think that would be an option for you. I think it just depends, how much does someone like a Carson Wentz cost? What does that look like?
That's fair.
I think it's interesting that Justin Fields went for a 6th round draft pick. I mean, like, that's the pickup of the century, a 6th round pick. That's it to get him. I mean, so some of these guys, if it's the right deal, I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Right. And you see what Baker Mayfield came in and played for the Bucs last season, and he kind of had like a prove it year, and now he got a pretty decent contract. I kind of think that Wentz is in that field right now where he still wants to play quarterback in the NFL. He will take a backup role, as he's proved already by playing for the Commanders and playing for the Rams. I think that he could also come in here, play that backup role to Tua, learn from an offensive mind like Mike McDaniel, and potentially restart his career. Now, granted, for him to restart his career, he's going to have to get playing time. So I just had a security blanket. I kind of listen, I get it. I'm not saying it's a popular name. I'm not saying it's a popular name, but just from a security blanket standpoint, I would have more faith in somebody who's shown you he could win, somebody that basically got his team to the playoffs. I think Carson Wentz would be somebody I prefer to go with than having a Mike White behind Tua Tagovailoa. But Marissa, any final thoughts on that topic before we move forward?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's honestly not even something I've even like pondered in my head. So I need that to marinate for a little bit.
For sure.
But for me, I mean, I think part of it too is you kind of think of, okay, this team that we've built, some of these guys, quite a few of these guys are on their last year of a contract, like 2024 is kind of their last season. And so I think to your what you're saying, having somebody who can come in and that there maybe is a good chance that the season still really has a strong chance of continuing with someone like that. I think that's a fair point. But yeah, I need to marinate on that one a little bit more.
I get it. Listen, it's not Tyler Boyd, but again, I just want to be in a position that God forbid something were to happen to Tua.
Yeah.
I feel maybe not just as confident because there's leaps and bounds beyond Tua and Carson Wentz.
Right.
But I also think there's leaps and bounds beyond Carson Wentz and Mike White. That's just my point when it comes to that.
Now, let me ask you this. I mean, Mike White did win out as number 2. For me, I mean, I think it's Skylar Thompson. Do you like Mike White over Skylar?
I do like Mike White over Skylar.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, that's only because of what I've seen.
Okay.
That's only because we haven't seen Skylar since that playoff game, right?
Right.
We haven't seen him since then. We haven't seen what he's learned. We haven't seen if he's gotten better. Preseason, for me, it's not a good gauge because technically in the year that he played, he had a really good preseason, and that's the reason we kept 3 quarterbacks.
Right.
But since that period, we haven't seen Skylar Thompson again. So that's the only reason I would go with Mike White now, just because Mike White has the more recent tape than what Skylar Thompson has.
That's fair. I can appreciate that.
So
look at us. We're just so nice to each other, and
two peas in a pod
I
here.
think we need to be an example to the community of how sweet 2 people can be with each other when it comes to talking Dolphins.
And to speak on that, we could have difference of opinions.
Yeah.
And not choke each other out in the comments section,
Right.
Because not everybody's going to agree with your point of view. Like I said Carson Wentz, and I think some people are like, no way.
Right.
But they're being super kind about it, and I think that's to take a steal from our boy Steven Daniels. Spread kindness, positivity, and love. It's like that costs you no energy, but this is cap for life.
This
cap
is
for life.
cordial. I think we're freaking people out. They're like, wait, people can be nice and talk about Dolphins. It's crazy. I know. I'm sure we'll have our moments though. So give us more time. Wait till we get into season. I'm sure some things will be revealed.
Before I move forward and finally get to the best part of the show, which is hearing you guys and your opinions on today's topics. I don't know if you've noticed each episode that we've done together or that I've done with somebody else, I like taking a shot at the New York Jets. The fact that they just picked up Mike Williams on a 1-year, $15 million contract.
Yeah.
And they're all acting like they just signed Calvin Johnson. It's like, go look at his career stats. Better yet, go look what he did last year. Go look what he did the year, 2 years before that. The guy hasn't been as great as the New York Jets fan base is feeling. He's Alan Lazard 2.0, just slightly better. The Jets are going to suck next year. I just wanted to throw that out there because any time I get a chance to take a shot at the New York Jets, I want to make sure I do that. But Marisa Marino, are you ready to start hearing from some of these people who are on here supporting us today?
I guess I need something stronger in this. So look at this. I have to show this. So Mike Oliva, who is the head of Dolphins Talk, shout out to him. He got me this. We know I can say the word ass on here. So he got me this bomb ass mug. And so I'm not going to tell you what's in it. Although we know I'm sober, so nothing exciting, right? And then I got this really cool pen because I'm a pen girl and I like to go like this a lot. So yeah, shout out to Mike for sending the swag.
By the way, if you know me, and by the way, if you follow the Bearded Fanatic at any point in time, and Marisa, that's now known me for almost in a few months will be a full year.
What?
I only know how to be nice to people.
Such a little angel.
Listen, toxicity doesn't flow in these bloods. I can't be toxic. I can't be petty. I can't be petty. But by the way, shout out to somebody in here. Hold on. Dolphin5413 speaking to my heart right here.
Yeah.
What about bringing Ryan Tannehill back? I would love it. If you know me, if you know anything about me, I love me some Ryan Tannehill. I get it. A lot of people are turned off by Ryan Tannehill.
I was going to say, what's the health of Ryan Tannehill these days? I mean,
what is that? That's facts.
That's a question. I mean, at some point, the injury-prone players coming over to the team, we've got we've got to chill on that for a second. But I mean, I can appreciate that.
You know what I think it is, Cap for Life, and I'm glad that you use the word hopium here. Again, shout out to Steven Daniels. They have to be excited about something, right? So Tyron Smith signs with the New York Jets, not knowing that he's been plagued with injuries over the last few seasons. But granted, he's another Teron Armstead. So I'm not going to poop on this one too hard because when Tyron Smith is on the field, he is a monster. Yeah. So definitely an upgrade for them at the left tackle position. But again, it's about availability. Mike Williams, you sure paid a whole lot for a wide receiver 3. Ooh. I like that one. But let's go ahead and start getting some of these people in here and go over today's topics.
Yes,
Marisa,
let's drop that link. And while we're dropping the link, don't forget to like the show and subscribe. And remember, if you came in late, find us on Twitter and repost our Twitter follow giveaway and subscribe to the channel so you can win a hat or beanie of your choice from Fanatics.
By the way, and that's a great
Beauty
name in there.
Beard.
I like that.
Laird Fentress, you are my new BFF.
Beauty in the Beard. I like that.
That is fan-freaking-tastic.
Should that have been the name of the show?
I mean, right? People wouldn't know, though, if we're talking about like Disney on Ice or if we're talking about Dolphins, but that is fantastic. So let's answer this. What are the rules? Okay, so I think this needs to be addressed real quickly.
For sure. Go for it.
Even though we say the word ass from time to time, we try to be somewhat family friendly. So
for sure,
if we drop the link and you are going to join the show, please be mindful of not getting too far out in left field with the cuss words and all of that.
Right.
We want to keep it respectful. We want, there's some teenage kids out there, although they might, do it with their parents or whatnot, or whatever they do with their friends, that are wanting to listen to the show. We want them to be able to do that. So
facts. And at the same time, like, keep the level of toxicity to a minimum.
Right.
Absolutely. Not everybody's going to agree with our opinion. Not everybody may agree with your opinion. But at the end of the day, we still want to hear what your opinion is and talk about it, because the only way we move the only way we move forward here is with communication, and that's what we want to do here on the Phins Factor episode. So far, nobody's clicked on that link, but by all means, oh my God.
I didn't even see the link. Oh, there's the link right there. Dolphins YouTube. There. Okay.
By the way, 1,120 people currently watching. You guys are definitely showing us love. We appreciate it. Definitely come to YouTube, click the subscribe button, click the like button. And by the way, something that I've always liked telling people, even if you don't like the content, tell us how we can be better.
Yeah.
We're always open to constructive criticism. So, like, by all means, let us know. Wow, Cliff D, man.
That's so fun. That's funny. But yeah, go ahead and drop that link one more time for them, for anybody who wants to join. In the meantime, what I think we need to talk about too, I think would be remiss if we didn't, is this Teron Armstead restructuring that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Cap had mentioned it earlier and had asked us about it. I don't know if I can find it anywhere.
Cap, you have the numbers on that, on the restructured deal?
What do you guys think? Oh, sorry, this one here. What do you guys think about this newfound cap relief from Chubb and X in June? Are there any other players you guys might restructure for the team? Manny, I'm going to throw that one your way.
For sure. Thanks. I appreciate that. Just throw me right under the bus. The Dolphins currently sit at 13-5, if I'm not mistaken, in cap space.
I'm so sorry. Link is giving them an error, just so you know.
That's weird. We'll try to get that figured out right now.
Okay.
But Dolphins currently sit at cap 13-5. Post June 1st is going to come up to 18-5. I believe you need about $6 to $8 million to cover the rookies' signings later in the year. Listen, I think Tyreek could take a restructure, especially with all the little drama he's been in recently. I don't know, and people have uploaded some amazing GIFs about Tyreek Hill and just staying out of the media. I see that one of the links worked, and we already got our first talk. But yeah, I think that Tyreek Hill is definitely the one that I would go to before we go to our guest here. Tyreek Hill would be the one that I restructure. If you are amazing on the field, Tyreek Hill, but if you can't keep your name out of the media, it's like, buddy.
I mean, at this point, it's kind of, you know what? Let me stop.
Yeah.
Let me just stop there. We're just going to go with what you said.
Right. Are you ready to go ahead and get our first guest on here?
I am ready. Go for it.
John O'Hanlon, welcome to the Phins Factor, buddy. Thank you so much for being here with us.
What's up? How are you?
We're doing amazing, man.
John, that is a beard. I mean,
bearded.
I mean, you could be Beauty in the Beard as well. You guys are giving him a run for his money for sure.
Hey, gotta love the beard.
I gotta love the beard. And listen, one thing that I've tried to tell people about bearded men, especially beards that are long, you know what that means, Marissa?
What?
That means commitment.
That's right.
I like that.
Just think about it. A bearded man is committed.
Not a lot of men are willing to commit, so I really appreciate that.
All right, John O'Hanlon, let's go ahead with the first one, man. You had the Jake Driscoll signing. You had the Isaiah Wynn re-signing, bringing him back. How do you feel about those two re-signing as far as from a depth standpoint?
Well, that's what it's for, is depth. You're bringing back Wynn because he can play a couple different positions. He could fill in nicely. Is he going to be a starter? No. There's no way he's a starter, but if you need him a game here, a couple games there, he can play. He was there last year. He knows the system. You got to look at the depth.
Is there a potential other person out there as far as an offensive line point that you like? I think we still need that one.
Oh yeah, I mean you still got the draft. You still got come June 1st, when we free up another 18 million, you're going to have 31 million in cap. You obviously got to put about 10 million aside for injuries during the season to be able to go out and sign. You got rookie contracts you're going to sign. So it's going to still leave you probably 12 to 15 million to be able to go out and look for that offensive lineman that hasn't signed. Because you got to remember, there's players that can't sign until June 1st, like Xavier Howard. He can't do anything until June 1st. There's other players in the same situation that come June 1st, you never know who Grier is looking at.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. Those are all very valid points. I think after June 1st is going to be very interesting to see what happens. Random question. Now, did you throw that on to come on the show, or are you always just sitting around in Dolphins gear in the off season?
No, I wear Dolphins shirt every day.
I like it.
I am obsessed
Every day.
with that.
Listen,
love that.
I'm going to show you something real quick. This is my living room in New Jersey.
What?
Okay. That's my living room in New Jersey.
Oh my gosh. If I lived in New Jersey, I would be knocking on your door that looks like the place to watch a game.
Well, you can come over during away games, but home games, I'm down at the Rock.
Hey, I have mad respect on that. All right. What's our next question, Manny?
Next question, man. Holes to be filled. Which position group is your biggest area of concern so far in the Miami Dolphins, so far before we even get to the draft?
Offensive line. I think they filled a lot of holes with the free agency they signed. A lot of holes. You got linebackers, you got defensive linemen. Right now, the safety they signed, Poyer, is my favorite signing. Put him back there with Holland, and who knows what they could do. I mean, you got Poyer was a Pro Bowler in Buffalo. Holland, potential Pro Bowler for years to come on the Dolphins if they can keep him. So, secondary looks pretty good. I love the Nick Needham signing only because, the kid hasn't played a ton, but when he does play, he's great in the slot. He could play safety. He could play corner. You got him relatively cheap. You keep him in the organization where he's been his entire career.
I want to speak to that, actually. I posted a video. As we know, Miss Shannon, Nick Needham's mom, is super active on social media, and we all just adore her. And I posted a video, though, that he did on Instagram, and Nick is putting in the work this offseason.
Oh, yeah.
He is coming back from that injury, and he is just doing big things out there. I'm so excited to see him, get some playing time, much deserved playing time from last season.
Oh, he did a ton of, working out last year to get better. I'm actually friends with Shannon. I see her quite a bit. She comes to our tailgate at the Rock. We went a bunch of us flew out to LA for week 1 last year, and Shannon took us around and went to lunch with us. We went and fed the homeless, took care of the homeless people in the area. Awesome. She does that every week. So she took like 12 or 15 of us with her to go out and do that. She was in Miami for one game. We went to a cookie place and made cookies for the team.
I remember that. Those cookies were amazing, by the way.
I hear her chocolate chip cookies are fantastic.
They are.
We might just have to do a whole podcast episode about her chocolate chip cookies or something.
The ones she makes at home are absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. Okay. Jealous.
Shout out to Mama Meedham and her.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. What a wonderful lady.
We've got some more people that are dropping into this.
We're coming to you guys. We're going to
get to you guys shortly. We have one more question, though, for John.
John, is there a player, whether it be free agency or trade, that you would want to go and grab and fill a need on this Miami Dolphins team?
No, I'm one of those guys. If you ever watch our podcast on Wednesday nights, I'm the wait and see guy.
I like it.
I'm the wait and see guy. I don't do mock drafts. I don't predict. I'm not, none of us get to sit in the front office and see the conversations and see what goes on and see their board. And I'm the wait and see guy. If they put on aqua and orange, I'm rooting for them.
I like that.
That's it. I'm not, Debbie Downer. After a game when we do our podcast on Wednesdays, we'll pick little things here and there, and talk about it, what went right, what went wrong. But no, listen, these guys are paid to play a game. Let them play. Enjoy it. It's entertainment. You're paying to either watch it on TV or be there. Enjoy it. Have a good time. all these people on social media that just want to, rip apart people and it drives me nuts. You're a fan of a team. Be a fan.
Yeah.
You're preaching to the choir, John.
John, you are so lovely. I'm so glad that I got a chance to see your face, and I hope you click the link many more times on Tuesday nights and join us.
And John, before you go ahead and plug that podcast for us where people can watch you on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
It's the WCFL on Wednesday nights. Papa Paul, Dolphin winners, myself, Tom O'Gara. Who am I missing? Ethan. We're the five that started it, and then there's other people that come on just about every week. We talk Dolphins football. We talk, off-season stuff that's going on. Papa Paul's got a Earth Day bash coming up at his place. Everybody tries to get together when we're down at the Rock to see each other. Ethan lives in North Carolina. Dolphin Winners is in Philly. I'm in Jersey. Tom's in Jersey. Papa Paul's the only one actually that's down there in Florida. Out of the five that started it, there's other people that are in Florida that jump on the podcast all the time. But, we have it every Wednesday night at 8:45. It's on Facebook. It's on YouTube. So, and we can have up to 10 people because we have the same thing you're on, but we can have up to 10 people. We try to keep it relatively calm. No yelling and screaming. No calling each other names. You want to put your opinion out there. If somebody disagrees, you can disagree, but do it nicely.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah.
There's no reason to call people idiots or names like that just because you disagree with them.
Right. And John, real quick before I head out, I know Dolphin winners very well. Make sure that the next time you see him and when you talk to him tomorrow, you let him know that the Beard Fanatic loves that man. He is a sweetheart, and I always love spending time with him at the Rock.
Oh, absolutely. And if you guys are at the Rock, come to East 12.
Oh, I'm there. I'm there. I'm gonna see the ticket holder, buddy. I'll see you there. All right,
thank
John. Thanks so much for coming through.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Before we do our next guest, I do want to just shout out Carlos Hernandez. He does an amazing job of running the I Am a Miami Dolphins fan page. If you don't follow, make sure on Facebook, I Am a Miami Dolphins fan page. All Dolphins Talk content is on that page, and Carlos does an amazing job of handling that. So shout out to him. Shout out
to Carlos. The next guest for you is somebody that we got to spend some time with, Marisa, in our Twitter Spaces on Thursday. If you remember,
right. I remember.
Mr. M.V. Roner. Welcome to the show, good sir. How you doing today?
Hello?
We hear you, buddy. We hear you.
Okay, this is a makeshift thingy because apparently you can't join through phones. The advantage of Twitter Spaces because you can do things through phones.
Well, you're killing it.
I don't know what I'm killing, but I don't want to go to jail.
We hear you perfectly. I think that's what she meant. So you know the questions we asked today: recent signings of Isaiah Wynn, Jake Driscoll. Which positions group is your biggest area of concern, and obviously what player would you want to go after that's remaining before we hit the draft? So by all means, the floor is yours.
All right, one at a time. Where do we start? The Isaiah Wynn and what's the other guy? The guy from the Eagles,
Jack Driscoll.
I like the signings. If anything, it's just fortifying the offensive line. And if we've learned from previous years, and I even would make an argument to say that some of the Super Bowl winning teams have actually had good offensive lines. So I would say being able to bolster the offensive line in case we get injured is a good starting point. I do hope we address the offensive line in the draft. Maybe that would be something that I would be praying for. Maybe even if we're taking advantage of it, because I still am an advocate for wanting to trade down and get more picks, because I still think you have a very good run with offensive line. I think you still have a good run on offensive line, even if you trade down from 21. Maybe as long as you're still in the first round, you still got a good run of offensive linemen. You could still take solid offensive linemen within that area. Maybe address, and I've mentioned this in an earlier Twitter space a while back, but maybe address the receiver with your second round pick. There's one guy, I don't know if he's from Georgia or South Carolina, that has either not dropped or only dropped one ball in his collegiate career. We need solid hands because Tyreek and Jaylen have had drop issues, and those have been maddening, frustrating during last season. And I honestly forgot the last question.
The last question was there a name out there?
Oh,
That you would want to go after that's remaining before we hit the draft? So by all means, the floor is yours.
Oh,
there was a name out there, whether it be free agency or potential 1 year left on their contract that you would trade for to bring onto the Miami Dolphins?
Okay, trade is one that I would be intrigued about.
Any
Gosh,
names
I've had a
popping
few.
off to you?
Sorry.
Any names popping off to you?
I mean, if anything, I would just, if anything, a lot of the free agents that I wanted are already signed. If there's one guy that I would hope maybe somehow, some way he comes around and decides to go to the Dolphins, even though he's vocally said in the past he does not want to, is Jadeveon Clowney. I would hope that somehow he could end up in Miami. The problem is I know from the past he said he doesn't want to go to Miami. So that could be an issue.
Who doesn't want to come to Miami?
Right.
Apparently Clowney. Apparently.
Yeah,
But-
that's a clown. That's a clown mistake of his. Goodness.
Ooh, that joke's on par today.
So,
Well,
in
Rona,
terms of- go
I
ahead.
was gonna say any final thoughts just in general before leading up to the draft that you want to get across?
I would say that if there's a position that I would really like to see loosely addressed that I think will need to be addressed in the future, I think it would be secondary. I know our secondary roster is very strong, but when you really think about it, Ramsey, I believe Fuller are up there in age. Javon Holland, you've got a young star in Javon Holland, obviously. So you got a few more years of him. Poyer's a 1 year deal. So you do need so you have some older secondary players that I do believe can play well, but I do think you need younger secondary. I do hope Cam Smith can step up to that role, but I wouldn't mind if maybe on a late round pick we can try to snag a corner or some sort of defensive back that can end up being a steal.
That's awesome. Marisa, any final
Yeah, I mean, I
questions
think that was
from-
the thing I was going to mention is, we have the Nick Needham. We have Cam Smith. He's to be determined, obviously, but, he was a draft pick of ours. We haven't really been able to see what he's 100% capable, what he's really capable of very much at all.
Right.
So I'm very interested to see what it looks like for both of those players this season, because absolutely right with the others. They are getting up there in age and, up there in age. Oh my gosh, I'm like so much older than them, but for playing purposes.
Also, just occurring to me, is Justin Simmons still available, or did he get signed?
I'll tell you right now.
Google is a beautiful thing.
Although very scary at the same time.
Justin Simmons has not been picked up yet based off 3 hours ago.
Okay, I would say maybe even another player. I'd say Justin Simmons. Maybe bring him in for a 1 year deal. We've seen that the market we've seen two common themes with the Dolphins, and I would even go as far as saying the NFL marketing. Low year contracts, small, nothing splashy. I think a lot of the average signing has probably been about $8 million a year or something like that. So I would say maybe 1 year deal for Simmons, maybe $7 million or something like that. Give him a Shaq Barrett. No, what's his name? The Shaq Barrett, right? That's the linebacker.
You got it right.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe give him a deal like that, and I think you can secure a good very solid secondary. Somebody in the chat I noticed mentioned about a 3 safety set, and that was what came to my mind. Would be Justin Simmons could play,
And he does
that role as the third safety.
All right, MV, before you get out of here, man, tell the good people where to find you, because obviously you shared a space with us on Thursday. Thank you for being there. Obviously, thank you for showing love and giving your insight, because you had really great insight on Thursday during the Twitter space. So where can people find you, buddy? Are you just on Twitter?
I would say, I do have an Instagram, but I don't really use it because Meta. I could jokefully say Meta is scary, but the truth of the matter is I just don't use my Instagram. I do have a YouTube channel. That one is mostly dedicated to NASCAR, though.
Okay.
So if for whatever reason any Dolphins fans are interested in NASCAR or any sort of racing, check it out. I think I'm somewhere, same username, all that stuff.
MV Roner.
And then obviously Twitter or X, but let's be real, it's still called Twitter. Elon Musk will never convince me to call it Twitter or call it something else. So
Peer pressure. We're not giving into that.
We're not.
We're sticking with Twitter.
It's like Elon Musk is the bully. We're resisting
Right?
the bullying. We're standing up to him.
All right, buddy.
Bully.
I appreciate you coming through, man, as well. Thank you for support. Thank you for being here in the comment section, man. And I look forward to having you on again.
Yes.
Hey, thank you. If anytime, I'd like to come back. I enjoyed it.
Awesome.
brother.
Every
Have a good
Tuesday
one.
at 8:15. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Thank you.
All right. So
Are you ready?
I'm ready. We've got
This
two
has
more
been
people
exciting so far.
backstage. Yeah, let's see. Next one we're adding to the stage is Brers.
What's going on, brother?
Hey guys, how are we doing?
Doing fantastic.
Good.
I see
Another
it.
bearded fella
Yes.
coming through. I like it. Another guy who's willing to commit.
There it
Yeah,
is.
Beards, we're taking over the world.
All right, Brad. So go ahead, man. You know the questions, you know the topics. What's been your go-to here today as far as opinions on these three topics we had today?
I think that I think pretty much like everybody, I think the O-line is still a concern. You know, a lot of the guys that we've got, although I think we've had some improvements, I think from the last sort of couple of seasons, it's still the core guys in there. I think we could perhaps do with somebody. Powers Johnson in the draft, I think could be a good guy if he's still there at 21. Although, like the guy said earlier, I think the potential of trading down, maybe getting another pick or maybe two in the third or fourth, maybe, you know, just to add a bit more depth across the board. We lost a lot of players, but pretty happy with the signings so far. I think Shaq Barrett's going to be really good. I think it was kind of noted with a few of the sort of the Twitter things I saw earlier that a lot of the guys that we've signed are all captains. They're all leaders. They're all, you know, big locker room guys, which was my biggest probably concern with Wilkins going. You know, he's a big influence in the locker room. He's a big sort of leader in there. So I think it was good to get those guys, to get him replaced with who appear to be some of the leaders.
Yeah, I think that's very valid. And I agree with what you said. I mean, Shaq Barrett is definitely a big addition. Christian Wilkins was a huge loss for us. I'm curious to see how Benito Jones, you know, if he what he brings to the table too for that D line, you know, and what that looks like. But totally spot on with all of that, Manny.
I think that what you said earlier in the podcast about the current defensive tackle positions that we keep bringing in, I think they're all depth pieces. I don't think there's a name that jumps out at you. I know the guy from the Cowboys I talked about last week. He's the one that's the most intriguing to me because he blows up offensive linemen very easily. But I don't know if it was just from a depth standpoint why he didn't play as so much when he was in Dallas. But I'm looking forward to him. Bradders, with the holes that are left to be filled, the draft is always coming up, and I think Chris Grier will do a good job of getting some more depth pieces in the draft. But is there anybody out there that you still want the Miami Dolphins to go after?
In terms of a free agency, probably not so much. I think probably the guys that are left are all probably going to be sort of squeezing the last penny out. And obviously we know that, you know, although we've generated an excellent amount of cap space, and I think Grier should be applauded for what he's done over the past couple of weeks in the front office team to kind of go to the big swing that we've had in not having any money to having money. Yeah, I think the rumors earlier, Brandon Ayuk, I think if we could manage some kind of trade for Brandon Ayuk would be a dream. I mean, I was kind of talking to some of my friends earlier, and I mean, is there a scenario given Tyreek's off-field shenanigans that maybe we say we look at a trade with Hill, get Ayuk, a couple of extra draft picks? You know, is that something that I think we should look at? I don't know. Could we look at it? Would it make us massively weaker? I'm not entirely sure. Do we need the outside sort of factors that Tyreek brings? Obviously, quality on the field is undisputed, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's one that's a hard one. Where you have Dolphin fans, you say anything about Tyreek Hill exodus, and it's a lot of
you might get burned at the stake flirting with that comment.
I know, but I do think there is something to be said about it's definitely distractions, stuff that goes on off the field. And there were certainly some distractions later on last season. And so I think seeing how that does with him keeping that at bay is a big thing.
I mean, don't get me wrong, obviously on the field, unquestionable, but you know.
Yeah. Now I do have two questions that are unrelated real quickly. One, where is your accent from? And I know you probably are tired of hearing that question, but
no, I'm dialing in from the UK, from England. So I'm
love that.
Yeah, it's 1:00 in the morning here, or it's about 1:10 in the morning here.
Wow.
So
Why are you still awake?
yeah, so stuff.
He's watching the Phins Factor. That's what it is.
Yeah,
There you go.
I heard about it on the Dolphins Talk podcast at the weekend, and I was like, I'm going to stay up and I'm going to make sure see if I can get on, which would be great.
You are truly I appreciate that.
Yeah, so I'm just outside Nottingham, England, which is most famous for Robin Hood, which people tend to know. So we're Robin Hood's from here. So
love that. Okay.
And what was the second question, Marisa, you had before we get him out of here?
Well, I was going to ask. Well, now that I know it's 1 a.m., does he sleep in his jersey?
I do have a few jerseys that I sleep in, but I do tend to wear some kind of Miami gear most days. It's you got to rep the Fins in the UK, haven't you? So let everybody know.
I love the commitment to that. That is amazing, and thank you so much for joining us from the UK. That is freaking awesome.
You're welcome.
Man, we would start sooner if we could, but jobs dictates that we start at 8:15.
It's fine. It's no problem at all. It's worth staying up for.
Oh, thank
Bladders,
you.
we have a Go Newcastle here comment before you head out of here.
I'm a Derby County fan in soccer, so I don't mind Newcastle. They're okay. We're both playing black and white, so that's always a good thing. So.
All right, Bradish, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being up, and thank you so much for supporting us in our first episode. It was really nice having you here today.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Gotta love that. 1 a.m. coming on Phins Factor.
What's even better than this, it's the support. Everybody's enjoying coming on here talking Dolphins football. 1,523 people currently watching. If you're enjoying the content, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and hit that like, comment. Marisa, I think we could call it it's been a successful show so far, and we still have two more people in the queue waiting to talk some Dolphins football. So let's go ahead and go to the next guy right here, Mr. Beast Mike. Let's go. Let's address already the fact that you have an orange backdrop. You have a bunch of Dolphins memorabilia behind you. You got the Dolphins gear and shirt and hat on. What's that directly behind you over your shoulder?
Yeah, what is
so? Okay, I guess I can do this whole setup here. So I have a Dolphins pillow because I did a lot of traveling.
I need one of those. Yeah, neck pillow.
Yeah, this works really well when I traveled from here in Philly. So I guess I'm the second Philly area Dolphins fan to do this, to be on this show. Good show. You guys are handling business. And I did this while going to Washington, D.C. before I could start working from home. And so this always came in handy. I got a lot of stuff going on here from there's a flag behind me. There's a logo.
I think, what is it sitting on? What's the neck pillow sitting on?
Oh, it's on my couch. There's a blanket behind
like a throw
me.
blanket.
Throw
blanket. Cool,
it looks like a big, inflatable, I didn't know.
Yeah, it's a blanket here. There's I got this little Dolphins pillow here as well.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, so I am very some of which I've acquired. Some this football hat since I was a kid. Some of which I've acquired over a long time, and some of which were gifts. And
so, Beast Mike, it goes without saying you're a big Dolphins fan. I think
that
goes without saying.
A little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah, I got curtains hanging up here, like Dolphins curtains. The room is actually painted. My dad actually painted this because he knew I was a diehard Dolphins fan as a kid.
That's
so
awesome.
when we moved up here, just outside of Philadelphia, it was I wanted Dolphin colors, so it made it. He was able to do that and made it happen.
They need
Dolphins fan in Philly.
Well, you know what they need? They need a Dolphins Talk HGTV home makeover show where they just go in and make over people's homes, their room, their Dolphins cave rooms.
I would see a lot of divorced men after this if you had a whole house Dolphin themed.
I don't have to be. I'm more of a clean shaven type of guy, but I am not afraid of the commitment.
There we go.
Never afraid of commitment.
I get it.
Well, Beast Mike, the floor is yours, buddy. You've seen the topics that we went over today. By all means, man, give us your feelings, give us your thoughts on today's show, and obviously what opinions you have of it.
All right. So yeah, I'm liking the show. I'm digging the show. Obviously, I've interacted with you guys before, I think during the spaces.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. So like, I guess I'll go with the free agency part first. I've made it known in my Tua Train videos that like I love what they're doing. I love that it didn't have to be a flashy offseason. It didn't have to be like, oh, like we won the offseason, we got this name, we got this name. We didn't have to do what the Jets are doing. Like I love that we didn't do that. Like I love it's good depth because we didn't have that last year. When we got to the end, we were running out of bodies. We're grabbing people out of the stands, avoiding the frostbite. It was just not good to have the lack of depth. So I love what we did there. Obviously, replacing Wilkins is a major hole, but I honestly would address that with the 55th pick. I would go in round 2 and go best D tackle available. Like I'm big on mock drafts. I'm big on creating mock drafts. So I'll absolutely be in the lab on that in April more so for that. Free agency wise, I like the safety flow. Like I would love a third safety. Like having the depth last year with Jones and Elliott and Holland, I thought really rounded that safety room out. And we got one bill safety. Why not get the other? Why not get Micah Hyde or even a Julian Blackman to go a little younger? Because I liked his play last year for the Colts and like what he's been able to do in Indy. I'm amazed they didn't re-sign him. I would love to do that.
Quandre Diggs is also still out there. Is that a name
Diggs,
that you flirt with?
I would like Quandre. Yeah, Quandre Diggs would be another good look. I would really like I prefer a box safety or another one anyway, because obviously losing Elliott, I think will hurt. Underrated loss. But I like a third safety. I think Diggs would also be a good look. I think he would be another good versatile piece we could use in the event of like Holland maybe hobbled a little bit or Jordan Poyer maybe hobbled a little bit. I would like that extra depth in the safety room as well.
Do we think there's enough? Do we think that there is
enough money?
We have Elijah Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think that he will be utilized at all? Do you guys see that?
For me, I think he'll keep fitting what he's fit up till now, which has been that special teams ace, for sure tackler, getting down on the field and getting those tackles to stop them from, getting past wherever they get the ball. What about you, Beast Mike?
That's kind of where I am with Campbell. Yeah. And what was that? The Bill signing was Siriam Neal. I think it's another one. Like I think that was
great special teams.
That was a sneaky good signing. We could have used him last year in the Week 18 game. That would have been nice. I like that signing. I think that was another sneaky good deal to get. So I think the cornerback room, like, I love keeping Nick Needham. Like he was before Vic got there. Loved him in the slot spot. Like when he was healthy, he was handling business in the slot. And like with Cam having the red shirt year, I think he'll be fine. Like I think with Weaver, I think he's going to be better in year one because we barely saw him year one. So like, I just would love the safety spot, and then up front with the O-line. The Driscoll signing was interesting to me.
It was.
I'm amazed the Eagles didn't keep him. Like I thought the Eagles would keep him and maybe fit him in at one of the guard spots, and then move Cam Jurgens or move Landon Dickerson. Both of them were college safety centers. Like move one of them to center, and then their offensive line still relatively intact. I'm amazed they didn't keep Driscoll. I like that they didn't. And I think he's gonna fit in nicely.
Now let me ask you this, Grimmy Cat. No Apple comment, and we haven't even mentioned. What are your thoughts on Eli Apple? Are you his biggest fan?
I have been one to call him Eli Fried Apple before he became a Dolphin. So I have been one to call him that. I didn't love the signing. So I am on Doll's team on that. Like I did not love the signing with Eli Apple, and the fact that he's probably not coming back. I'm cool. Like that's fine. I'm perfectly fine. If he came to the Eagles and Vic Fangio, I guess it's a situation where we're just watching the world burn at the link. Yeah. Not too far away from me.
Real quick before we get you out of here, are you concerned at all? And it doesn't have to be a big concern, but do you think we currently have what we need in the quarterback room in the horrible hopes that I hope never happen, that Tua does go down? Do you feel confident with a room of Mike White and Skylar Thompson?
I hope we never have to see Mike White play or Skylar play in another, unless it's a garbage time situation like we had several of last year. Mike White's a tricky case. I don't love Mike White, but then again, the pieces outside the organization right now Like Tannehill, decent, but the health situation bothers me. Like Carson Wentz, like I heard you talking about him before. Like he's okay. There's talent there, but the health concerns me
for sure.
So like I personally would probably keep Mike Wright for one more year, and if they wanted to draft a QB late, so be it. I can live with it, but I'm very comfortable with Tua as long as he's upright. As long as Tua is able to do his thing, I am very comfortable with him, and I trust that he will improve in the offseason.
I agree, and that's big ups to you, man. As far as showing appreciation for Tua, Marissa, any questions for Beast Mike before we get him out of here?
No, I think that was all spot on. I love seeing your Dolphins room. It is legit. I'm jealous. I might have to get some style tips from you on how to decorate I need to make like a lady. What is it? A lady cave? A lady?
Lady cave is.
Lady cave. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I might have to reach out to you for some tips on that. But I appreciate you joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Beast Mike.
Have a good night.
Do the same.
Before we move to the last one, can I address something real quick?
Yeah, and then I have something too, and then we'll go to Jay. Yeah.
Dakota, I know who you are. Don't come over here with this blasphemy, Mike Williams.
I know. Don't do that.
This one right here, sure. Okay, I told you I could agree with that one, but come on, Dakota.
Gang.
Mike Williams, $15 million for 1 year. The guy has done nothing in his career so far. What do you got, Marissa?
I was just going to mention Scotty's comment here. I think this is aces right here. I am excited to see the work that Butch Barry does, especially with Aaron Brewer as well. I think, we saw what he's capable of. And so I do think, magic is the word. I think letting him get his hands on some of these O linemen, get his hands on them. And see what happens. So I'm looking forward to the potential that he can bring out of them for sure.
By the way, 1,600 people currently watching the Phins Factor episode 1 with Bearded Fanatic and Marisa Marino. Are you ready to bring on our last guest of the night?
Yes, but let me address this. Oh,
okay.
Nope, we addressed the wrong one. Are you Dan Marino's daughter? No.
You should just start saying yes.
I should. I'm like his long lost niece or something, I'm sure. If I did like 23andMe, I would find out that like he owes me a couple $1 million somewhere down the genetic tree, but no relation, just a really, really awesome last name that I got gifted by my father. So
yeah. Shout out to Papa Marino. I hope he's in here watching today.
He better be in here watching. Him and my mom better be watching. But All right. So let's bring in our next guy.
Let's do it, Mr. Jay Myers. Welcome to the Phins Factor, sir. Thank you so much for being patient while we got to you and we were getting through the other guests. How you doing today, man?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Doing amazing.
Great.
Doing amazing.
Smash that like button, everybody. Smash that like button.
Yes, please.
Came in here with the fire already. Smash that like button.
Listen to Jay. The guy knows what he's talking about.
Well, all right. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Let's go ahead and get it, Jay. You've heard the topics today, man. Anything that stood out to you, anything that you didn't agree with, but by all means, man, give us your 2 cents.
No, definitely. Actually, you guys touched on what I was about to bring up, was saying, like, first off, I think you were asking the question before, your biggest concern. I know everybody kind of went with O-line, but I think after last year, Butch Barry, with the improvement of Austin Jackson, with obviously the 13 different lineup rotations that we had throughout the season, that I think he's earned a little bit of credibility as far as going into year 2. So we've got to give him a little, wiggle, a little bit of like leeway, I should say, as far as like what he can do with the guys that are in. Now, I'm not saying that I don't have any concerns with the O-line, but my main concern is the defensive line.
Okay.
And it's not only the loss of Wilkins, but I think everybody's just assuming Jaylen Phillips and Bradley Chubb are going to come back 100%. I mean, those are major injuries late in the season, especially Chubb being a second ACL. I do think that now Jaylen Phillips is a physical freak. Like, I wouldn't mess with that guy. I wouldn't doubt him one bit.
Have you seen the videos of him recently, of his rehabbing and everything? I've been posting them, and it's pretty remarkable. He's getting after it.
Yeah, I have seen. I haven't seen the most recent one, but I saw the one before the last one, or no, the one where he was walking on his own. I believe.
Yeah.
That's the one that
Okay.
I did see.
On the
Also,
treadmill, right?
Kirk Cousins, I think, tore his ACL, and he's actually really coming along really well too. I mean Achilles. I'm sorry, he tore his Achilles, and he is coming along really well. Only a few months into his recovery too. So Jaylen Phillips, obviously younger, a lot more stronger, probably takes his craft more seriously, but. From a workout standpoint. But yeah, I just think that the D line as a whole, I think we have a lot of guys that are unproven, especially the middle. I love Sealer, but again, the guys around him. And then again, the edge players, Shaq Barrett also had a major injury less than 2 years ago. So even though I like him a lot, I do think that there's a lot more questions on the defensive line. I love the linebackers and secondary so far, what we've done. But I think that D line is, I'm going to have to see it.
Then I'm curious to ask, just from a draft standpoint or maybe a free agency standpoint, is there still any other name out there that you would want us to pick up during free agency? Or when it comes to the draft, is that number 21 pick something that you prefer to go D-line right away than go offensive line?
I think it definitely depends on who's available. I think that left tackle should be a priority this year. And
Sure.
I do think that we can kick him in either left or right guard the first year. But I think left tackle is a position where we have to plan a bit of a step ahead. So I think we have rather just Driscoll will be able to fit in the swing tackle role, or whether, but I think that bringing in a young guy, even if he doesn't see the field his first year, I think even we would want him to, obviously, but I think that getting the guy to come in after Armstead is going to be very important. Also, receiver, I'm very open to. Very open to wide receiver. D-line, I believe if Newton or Murphy's there at 21, I'd rather get one of those two guys, but I don't think anyone else would be worthy of the pick at 21. Trading back would be ideal too. Maybe,
Fair.
in the early 30s, and pick up an extra second and third or something like that. But I do think it depends on who's there at 21 to see where we go. As far as D-line, edge, I would love Latu, or there's a few guys I like on the edge as well.
For sure. Marissa, any questions for Mr. J. Myers?
No, I mean, I think he thinks
on the
like
ball.
we do.
Yeah, he's on the ball for sure.
You are a Phins Factor alum already. Day one.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right. On the
Appreciate it.
first episode of almost 1,600 people watching right now, we're definitely going to go down with J. Myers being on the show, B. Smite being on the show, Brers being on the show, MV being on the show. Listen, I have, I guess, one more question for you. Do you kind of have a hot topic for us, a hot note, a hot take that maybe some people may not agree with, but in your firm standpoint, you believe in that hot take more than somebody else may?
I don't know if I'm in the minority or the majority on this one, but I definitely think to this point in the offseason, I don't think that Tua extension's a locked and loaded done deal like everybody thinks it is right now. I think there's been some posturing going on. Now, I'm not saying it won't get done, but I do think that I think at this point, I don't really see the advantage of doing it this year. Again, I'm not a hater. I'm not a Tua hater. Trust me, I rooted for the guy. I rooted for the guy more than anybody. And I want to see our quarterbacks succeed. I don't care who it is.
Sure.
That's just the bottom line. I want to see our quarterbacks win. But I just don't think that, I don't know. I think Stephen Ross, I still have my as when he was flirting with all the other quarterbacks and everything. I'm not sure he's willing to write that check yet, no matter what Chris Grier or Mike McDaniel wants to do. We will see, though. I just don't think that that's a done deal like everybody's reporting. Just a gut feeling there.
We won't cancel you for saying that at all.
Correct. We won't.
You're not canceled.
Yeah. No, he's the guy. He's the guy, though, next year for sure. No doubt. I want to win.
And I've been the same way myself. I mean, I'm not a member of TuaNon. I hate to say that. Yes, my stepmom and dad are watching. Thank you. I'm not a member of TuaNon. I think he's really, really good. I've said it a bunch of times. I don't know who you could go out there right now and get that I think would do better than him at this point. I'm curious to see. His trainer has been very active on social media lately. What's his name? Nick.
I have seen that. Yeah, I have seen that.
About he's like working on Tua losing the weight now, and And now that he, did a 1 year of staying healthy. So I think this is for me, this is like a proof in the pudding. I mean, I need to see. I'm ready to see what Tua brings this season. This is it.
So let's end it with this, Jay.
Well, I was going to add one other thing, because if
Sure.
you're, especially the numbers they're throwing out for like 50, even if it's around there, if you look at it from the Dolphins' perspective, next year they get a worst case scenario, obviously not ideal, but you can always franchise them. And I don't even believe that that's going to be $50 million for next year, the franchise tag. If I'm not, I could be mistaken there, but so when I read, I think it's in the upper 30s. So I even think that they have, as opposed to a long-term, and I mean, just with our injury luck too, it's not even just Tua with a O-line that is a little bit questionable. I'm not sure if it's the wisest investment at this point. That's all. And it's not all his fault. He's done what he can, but at the same time, we have to look out for the team too. If you're a Dolphin fan, that's really what the most important thing is.
I agree with that sentiment. Oh, look who's here.
Yeah, that is, you know what? I admire you. Phins Factor is like Fear Factor, and you faced a fear and you came on and talked about Tua in front of 1,600 people. So you get a gold star for that. Good job.
By the way, I've been big on that, Jay, and we'll end it with Tua because we don't want to get our show canceled on episode 1. But I've been big on that. I think he's always been good. And then he got really good, but he hasn't reached that echelon of great. And that's why, for me, I've stated in the offseason, our very last show, I will let him play out this year on that 5th-year option and then potentially tag him next year if he doesn't have a great season this year. Because, again, I don't think there's anybody out there right now that can fill his shoes on the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, I agree. Without making a crazy, I mean, like you said, and I mean, as Kirk Cousins, even when he was available, is that really an upgrade? I mean, that's going to really change the direction of the franchise and for that kind of investment. And it's really not about, Tua's not on a rookie deal anymore. I mean, that's where everything changes. You're not on a rookie deal. Once you start paying the quarterback, we're already seeing some of the cap casualties we had to deal with already. I just think that from a team, you got Waddle's going to demand probably the way things are going, 30+ million, who knows? But I mean, you got some guys, and then you got to really improve the team. That's the next step. We got to get better in years. So I just think that it's a critical decision for them. And, I'd hate to just make that right now when you don't have to, especially when we're talking numbers like we've been hearing. So
for sure, Jay.
I can appreciate that. Let me ask you something, Jay. Are you subscribed to Dolphins Talk YouTube channel?
I am. Listen to Mike pretty much every day. Yep.
Awesome.
And I obviously catch you guys too when you're on. Last week I think I was there. So.
Okay, so you've already got step 1 down. Step 1 is to subscribe to Dolphins Talk YouTube channel. Second, are you active on Twitter or Facebook?
I'm not Facebook for. I'm not really active on too much, but I do have an account. Yes, I do have an account.
Well, you can go to my handle on Facebook or Twitter or Bearded Fanatics or Dolphins Talk, and we have a post going around. And if you subscribe to our channel, which you already do, and if you like and repost our post, you will be entered in a drawing to win in little less than 48 hours now a Dolphins hat of your choice from Fanatics. And I see you're already wearing one. Maybe you need an upgrade.
I like that 305 one. I like that 305 one for sure.
With the military.
So that is my way of letting you and everyone else knowing to find those posts. Make sure you repost and like it and subscribe so you can win some new swag going into the season.
Would love it. You said Dolphins Talk on YouTube?
Dolphins Talk on Twitter. And my Twitter, Bearded's Twitter, all of us have the posts, and then you just have to subscribe to Dolphins Talk on YouTube, which you already do.
Yep.
Okay, I'll go ahead and do that when I'm done.
Awesome.
All right, brother.
All right.
So
Jay, thank you so much for coming by, man.
You guys have a great night. Thanks for having me.
All right, bye.
Well, Marissa, if I had to say, I would say episode 1, technically episode 1 of the Phins Factor episode has been a success. How about you?
This has been a wild success. Right now, I mean, we have 1,700 people still watching. This is awesome. I'm out of stuff to talk about, but I wish I wasn't because I love the support. It's greatly appreciated. And I'm excited. I'm excited to continue to interact with everyone too. It's so cool to talk to the fans and to see whatever other people have to say, because people don't want to hear me talk for an hour straight. So,
I don't think that's true. I think I would say 1,648 are here definitely for you. I have a couple sprinkled in there that I pay to be here, but at the end of the day, I like we said last week, I thought that you and I would do great content together. I think that showed on episode 1. Just I get it. A couple people say we're being a little too cordial, but that's just kind of people we are, and that's kind of content you're going to get here. We're never going to be at each other's throats. I hope not. If she keeps bringing up Eli Apple, we may fight off air, but just throwing that out there. Marisa, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No. I don't know about this one here. I mean, he's got the commitment beard, y'all. Okay. Like we got a little blush. I love that. But no, this has been awesome. So anybody who's listening in podcast form, I can be found at mustbemarissa87, Marissa with 1 S. Bearded can be found at Bearded Fanatic with a PH. He's on that PH level. And every Tuesday, isn't that's a new one? I just came up with that.
I like that.
We are on every Tuesday at 8:15. He is my honorary Jew. Wow. Evan, my mother is Jewish, so I'm actually the built-in Jew. So the check
always with me, always. But yes, at Bearded Fanatic on Twitter, TikTok. Look, I'm even on TikTok.
I'm on TikTok now too. I just started.
I know we started following each other just last week.
I mean, my first night on, I was up till 3 a.m. watching
it's bad.
Random videos. I don't even know, like cat videos, like people.
You're speaking to me right now.
Like just some weird stuff. And I'm like, okay, I have got to shut down.
Football, cat videos, and then obviously, no fat jokes, but food. Literally food spots, like hole in the walls. I love watching those. But yeah, that's my goal. But ladies and gentlemen, you've been here with us for 1 hour, 21 minutes, going on 23 seconds right now. It's been amazing having you guys here. It's been amazing interacting with you guys. We look forward to dropping another episode next Tuesday at 8:15. We may sneak in a guest, and which I will tell Marissa off air. We already have a guest lined up. The Tuesday right before the draft. He's got a pretty humongous following on Twitter, so make sure you're here for that one. He'll definitely bring his insight for the draft that episode. But if you have no final thoughts, the Phins Factor is going to go ahead and sign off right now. We look forward to having you guys in the future. And as always, ladies and gentlemen,